Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Cupid's Coach podcast. It's Julie Ferman, your host, with guess who? Chris Gillis, who is a fabulous dating coach, relationship coach. I'm really excited to have this chance to interview him, and you guys just get to listen in like it's a sister and a brother talking about all sorts of dating stuff. So we're going to pretend you guys aren't here, and it's going to be just Chris and me having a conversation. How's that sound, Chris?
I love it. Just me and you. Let's get real and spicy and let's go.
Yeah, because I'll tell you why I wanted to have you on the show, Chris. Not only do I know you
Yeah.
and love you, we go to the same conferences and we talk about the issues that are of the day regarding dating, relationships, and all that. But you really focus on emotional intelligence. And it's the one thing that women come to me asking for.
Yeah.
And I love that you're a guy who knows enough about emotional intelligence. You've climbed up the scale in human consciousness enough that you
Mhm.
can actually teach it. So
Mhm.
that's why I want your wisdom on the show. Glad you're here.
Thank you. And hopefully, when we're done with here, I'm going to teach it in a way for men, women before who didn't pay a lot of interest in it. Hopefully, it makes sense and they go, you know what? I get it. This is a skill that I want to work on. And it's a skill. And it's not something that you're just born with. It's something that I can grow and put the reps in and get better and stronger. And I want them to understand the reason why it's so worth it.
Yeah, tell us about that. Why is it so important to women that the men that they date and partner with have a certain degree of emotional intelligence?
I think the short answer wants to be seen and understood. And let's be real, Julie, you are a beautiful embodiment of emotions, as because you are you because you are female and you want to be seen and you want to be heard, and there's nothing more frustrating than being with a person that talks to you like you're a spreadsheet. And yes, they're constantly trying to fix your problems first without acknowledging your feelings, which is, I know you didn't say that, but you needed to come back and to do those things. And it's such a big investment for a woman. This guys, listen up. The biggest investment these gals are ever going to make is to decide which good man that they are going to hitch their wagon to. And there's no faster way to not get a second date. That's by not emotionally connecting emotionally connecting with, emotionally making them feel heard and understood. Almost all women will give you a second date if you can make them feel heard and understood. It's just a skill that
I,
not many men do.
I loved what you said, Chris. Yes, we need to be heard and understood. And sometimes we just need, like, instead of the guy trying to fix the problem, which is what
Yeah,
he's naturally wired to do, if he knows, because
yeah,
you're teaching him, and hopefully he's listening to my podcasts and they're
yeah.
hearing this over and over again, if he takes the time to hear what's beneath what
Yeah.
it is that she's sharing with him, there's
Hmm.
probably an emotion there, right?
Hmm.
Sensitive enough to say, man, oh man, that must have been a horrible thing. I bet you just, it was a really rough day for you. You felt diminished by the way your boss, talked to you. She needs to know that you get what she's trying to
Hmm.
share. And she needs to know that you're not just trying to fix the problem so that it'll
Yeah.
get out of the way so you can move ahead and talk about sports or something.
Hmm. Hmm.
And if we don't need you to fix it, we should say, Chris, I need your attention for about a minute, and I'm
Yeah.
going to download some shit on you. And all
Yeah.
I need to do is just listen, just hold my trash can so I can tell you what it's all about. And then I might actually have space to be with you. Do you think you can hold my trash can for a half an hour
Right.
or for a half a minute, right?
Right. On that note, a true funny story. So thank you for, acknowledging that. Yeah, I've risen. My fluency in speaking emotional, intelligent ease has grown. But I was once given a book, and now I love this book. First, I got it. I was insulted. It was David Data's The Way of the Superior Man, and I hated it. I was so insulted because I thought I was a superior man. Look, I have muscles and I worked out and I had a good job and I had a BMW and all these things and I worked so I was like I am all that. And one of the things in there that really stuck with me is that you said something along the effects of listen. when a woman says something to you and she's hot and she's pissed and it's coming through here, oftentimes we just as men we hear the words and we go, okay, look, let's solve that. But instead to really to don't hear the words, but hear what's the emotion. If you to sum up what the emotion is he's saying, and often maybe it's I'm scared, I'm worried, I'm nervous, I'm this, and acknowledge always acknowledge that first. I almost think of it like a if is men like we like to be fixers. If we were like a, say we're in the emergency room and someone carts in there, we don't just start looking at them, the doctor, good doctor, and just doesn't start bandaging them up. He asks, what's going on? What hurts? Where are you at? So get and I have learned the hard way many fights and of trying to triage and trying to bandage up using my masculine way of communicating way too early on and been slapped upside the head. Stop doing that. And to know, I literally write it down like for recently. I was like, take a beat and figure out it. Always attend to the feeling and the emotion first, and then we can get over on to the solution. But you can't
You
skip
know,
that.
I've been talking to a lot of coaches and I've read a lot of books, but I haven't heard anybody say it exactly like that. It's really pretty simple, Chris. You're right. Get underneath what it is that she's sharing, especially if it's something that's got her a little bit riled, to find out what's underneath it. What is the emotion? Is it fear?
Yeah.
And we don't like to acknowledge that we're afraid of something.
Yeah. It's almost like ignore every single word. Do like the Charlie Brown thing, with a wah, and just hear, well, what's the emotion they're saying? Oh, they're pissed. They're scared. Don't attend to that first and foremost emotionally, because at the end of the day, that's who we are emotional before we're logical. All our emotions, they drive our logic decisions we make. And to skip that is to skip out being human and have a human experience.
I love it so much. It's so simple and so deep and profound. Once you know that was what was underneath the thing that she needed to share with you was doubt or fear or anger, then what do you do before? I mean, should you ask her? I might have a suggestion for that. Do you want to hear it? Or how do you know like what's to do next once you know the emotion?
What I find is in so many guys, we're afraid of being wrong. We're afraid of taking a stab at it being wrong. There is nothing. It's so much better to take a stab and just to acknowledge and reflect back what we see, even if we're a little bit off, or even if we're very off, but at least to know that we're seeing them. So let's say we're going at it, and you're just pissed off at me about the coffee mug being left out. I'm like, it's a coffee. I'm like, but that's not true. I do it 99% of the time. This isn't fair, blah, blah, blah. And it's not about the coffee mug. And instead, it's like, well, what's really going on? So, what works really, really well is simply to stop and say, wow, you seem angry, you seem stressed, you seem whatever. And even if it's like, well, I'm not stressed, goddamn. Okay, all right. What is it? I'm nervous. And then maybe and let her talk. She goes, but now she is knows that she's in a room with somebody who is able to meet her on her emotional level and somebody who able to hear them. And so that way it's going to allow her to put her defenses down. Now allow her to share and trust us as a man so that she can trust us to see her who she's at, and then I'll notice again. It is so much better just to take a random shot in the dark and just throw out anything. You say it, being scared or whatever or worried
Yeah.
that works, and then she will correct you. But she'll be so grateful to see, oh, he actually gives a shit enough to actually check in with me and not just try to fix our coffee mug problem, which is what so many guys we think that's the way to stop the yelling.
And he's not just faking it to pretend that he cares so that
Yeah,
she will sleep with him.
yeah, yeah.
They look so deeply into your eyes, and then they ask you the same question that they asked you last date,
Oh,
because he's mostly
yes.
trying to get a glance at what's underneath her shirt. I mean,
Right.
and that's what makes us distrusting, right? So we
Yes.
have to learn to trust each other. I say show up with trust.
With trust.
Bring
Yeah.
trust, bring love, bring joy, bring
Uh,
happiness, and share it and see where you come together. And don't come like waiting, like expecting, well, we're going to see, we're going to see if he has this or that. Just
mm.
bring it,
And
lady, bring it.
I love you pointed out that earlier how men oftentimes, and also where we are. we're much simpler creatures than oftentimes you give us credit for as far as operating on a emotional subtext level. So we do like tend to be literal, especially when in our default mode. And I love how you pointed out, especially if a man has something to gain, to make sure you're not leading him. Like someone says, never have a conversation about what are we. I'll make sure you're vertical and upright and not horizontal before as he's unstamping your bra. That's not the time because guess what he's going to say? He's smart enough rat that he'll answer to get that piece of cheese. But to understand and instead to I was coaching a gal yesterday and this is a guy will if you let a guy give him space to truly express himself. So we are emotional. We are so incredibly emotional. We have emotions. We're just not as skilled and talented and feel safe as letting them out. And you've probably, coached some men or even maybe I did remember some guys you dated and you're like, they didn't say anything. And all of a sudden, as soon as they knew it was open, it was safe, open up the floodgate. It was a fire hydrant of words. And you're like, I didn't get anything out of there. And with men, I always tell gals, if you ask us a question, not leading, think of it like a judge. You don't want to, or a lawyer. You don't want to lead the witness, but you ask them in a way, maybe something important. Maybe you want to figure out it's a non-negotiable. What their, what their ideal, what do they want? Like if
I
they
like
want a
if
kid.
the guy wants to have family or not. I just got
I
off a
would say,
conversation.
yeah. So if you're
Yeah.
like, hey, so if you're just, I said to a gal yesterday, I was like, oh, so it's maybe something comes up and he mentions a movie or something that has a big family or whatever. It comes up and you go, oh yeah, and you just ask him, very coyly, oh, so what's your ideal family situation? And then I said, and then look down, cut your endive salad. Do not do the dart. Don't lead us, and they'll be like trying to put words in our mouth, and just shut up. And no matter what he says, and if something seems a little bit is that a yellow flag or red flag or pink flag? And then, you can ask another follow-up question and again, but keep it open, not don't lead them. Oh, so you want kids, right? Oh, so you're from a big family, you want kids, right? But to ask them and then to zip it and to look back down and as long as you zip it, man, we will spill the beans. We are not good. As soon as we feel that won't be judged, we will share it. And I think in the end of the day, right, Julie, isn't all this dating, isn't it just an awesome, facsimile of us role playing to figure out what would it be like to come home to Julie? What would it be like to come home to Chris? What does he really
Yeah.
care about? And we can get through all
It-
this nuance and bullshit and just be real.
if we could actually show up on dates that way, show up in our text messages, show up on
Uh-huh.
the second, third, fifth date without an agenda, we
Yeah,
actually just want to see how does it feel to be with Chris.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
it would be
yeah,
a lot better than the way it is right now. There's something that women are
it
really
is.
struggling with, women who are in the mid to late 30s, early 40s. They really want to have a family for whatever the reason is. She's 40 and it hasn't happened.
Yep.
And so she wants to come to the matchmaker to find the guy who wants to make a baby. And the thing that's
Wow.
so interesting is I've been watching 40,000 registrations I've watched over in the last 25 years since I started my company. And statistics don't lie.
Yeah.
So in 40,000 registrations, the percentage of women who check the yes, I want to make a baby box 3 times, no, 5 to 6 times as high as it is for men.
Want to make a baby? Yeah.
Guys will say maybe. And about
Yep.
marriage, same thing. Three
Yeah.
times as many women will say, I want to be married as men. But men
Mm.
are more hesitant about getting married, maybe because two-thirds of the divorces are created by us girls. We're the
Right.
ones who are not happy in the marriages we
Right.
said we wanted.
Right.
It's so
Right.
complicated. So, how about we find out who the other person is and what matters to them first?
Yeah.
And we see if maybe we match theirs.
Yes. Yes. And back to kind of on the emotional intelligence side, let's figure out how it's sooner than later, what it's going to feel like to be around them. How does it make my nervous system feel in a world where we're constantly things are buzzing, we're turning our phones off, and things are grabbing our attention, and we're also wired. It's a real disservice when guys and girls and they play their avatars show up on the dates. And they and this song and dance and they're putting this representation of who they are versus actually getting to know and expressing who they are. And I think, and one of the things that I've been coaching guys and gals, the guys I knew it was going to be obvious, but the gals lately, I'm always surprised. I'm like, damn, you ask them. those are some low entry level questions. Those are you're wondering why he answers like a spreadsheet in an interview. That's a you gotta set it up on, this is basketball. You gotta put it on the rim, man. You gotta let us just knock it in at first before you have training, start
Give
training
us an
spreadsheets.
example of questions that should be asked and definitely should
Sure.
not be asked on a first date.
Sure. So gals like, okay, everybody wants to know. People think it's sex, like this, like the less boring stuff. Like, well, I asked him what he likes. Cool. What'd you ask him? I said, what are your hobbies? And then the guys are like, I like, pickleball, board games, running, period. And then what about you? And versus instead of, yeah, a more interesting question could be, um, well, maybe the guy said travels, and instead of being like, we'll just answer how many countries or whatever. So, oh, what was the most surprising thing that you didn't expect to learn on when you went to Thailand or whatever it
Yeah.
is.
Or
And
when you were
now,
in Thailand, what was the day you loved the most? Tell me about that day.
yeah,
With there's no agenda in that question.
well,
It's not the, is he going to take me to a nice restaurant for lunch? I mean, it's because sometimes they're asking the questions trying to find
sure,
out, is the guy a cheapskate? Will he like to take
yes,
me to my fancy places that I like to go? And I'm always hesitant about the travel thing because when men see, well, you tell me you're a guy. You're studying a woman's profile and she's travel, 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 and all of her pictures are
mm.
Paris and Africa and blah, blah, blah. What are you thinking?
They're sitting on the yacht and there's no guy in the photo. It's just them doing all the traveling all these crazy places.
Usually, I think a guy's thinking, this girl's going to be expensive
Yeah, 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 yeah.
because she's not
Or
expecting to go on a trip and cover your way. It's
what?
she's the one who wants to go on the
Yeah,
trip. You don't need to
yeah,
go to Africa.
yeah,
She wants to go to Africa. She wants somebody to go to Africa with who's
yeah,
happy to at least share the expense. And it might be one of those swanky, Africa trips.
yeah,
And,
yeah,
it's 20,000 instead of 10,000 or whatever. But we have the expectation the guy's going to meet us where we feel like he should be spending money.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, shoot, I live in, Los Angeles. You remember how it was here. So a lot of these gals, yeah, the guys are afraid, oh God, this is just like a high class, situation. Some guys
It's going to
dropping
be
some
expensive.
millionaires throwing them
She's going to
on a yacht
expect
with a bunch of women. Yeah. And then they
she's
get, then
going to
our brains
expect
go crazy.
Valentine's
Yeah.
bullshit. She's going to expect
Yeah.
this or that. So that's part of the problem. And then on the other side, women feel like the guy wants sex before she even knows how she feels when she's with him, right? And he
Mhm.
wants to find out how the sex is going to be before he commits to her. You see the conundrum?
Yeah, 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 and yeah, absolutely. Also on that, yeah, on that same note we were just speaking about, it's worth. I always say when you ask a question, get clear and well, what do you want to especially this is especially for guys when you're asking because guys ooh, nice guys I specialize I love coaching nice guys the guys who oftentimes don't get second dates and the only feedback they get is there wasn't a lot of chemistry and the surefire way to not get chemistry is to ask them questions that can be filled out in an Excel spreadsheet how many countries her favorite thing was this and this and this but of course she's not feeling anything. She's just answering facts. And so instead to make sure don't let it come out your mouth unless you can write down beforehand. This is the feeling that I'm going for. Maybe it's gratitude, maybe it's appreciation, maybe it's depth. Maybe I want to learn about something that like what's the emotion that could be summed up in there. So that's, like what is, yeah, exactly like what, like when, instead of asking how many kids did you have, let me, get more fun to take a stab in the dark. Maybe I find out you're the youngest of your siblings. And I go, oh gosh, I bet you were okay. I bet you were a huge brat. What was the brattiest thing you ever did? And then she's like, oh my gosh.
Love that
Yeah,
question.
and now emotions are coming up.
Right.
And a fun little cheat code that I realize is fantastic for very guarded men and very guarded women who are like, I don't know, they're a little, everyone's afraid to be vulnerable right now, Julie, because they're like, oh, I don't want people to see me. This is a cool way for your brain to not be so stressed out. Like I'm oversharing. Talk about, yeah, share a childhood memory. And there's something so magical because fun, young, 8-year-old Chris and Julie, we're actually the bigger grown-up versions of who we are now. But people are, for some reason, we're comfortable talking about our childhood as if it's a different version, if it's a different person. But it's giving us a sense of getting to travel now as you're telling the story, especially if you layer it in. I'm little Chris is showing up, and I'm watching you do the thing, and I'm hanging out with thing, and I'm feeling closer, and I'm feeling bonded to you, and then I'm gonna start sharing these things. Next thing you know, now we're laughing about childhood, and it's so much easier, to laugh about time you whatever wet the bed and you had to get called home, that embarrassing thing, then versus maybe embarrassing than it happened last week. That's a little bit still too close to home.
I have all these great questions that we use in my conversational quickies event, and I keep
Ooh,
adding to them and playing with them.
yeah.
And one of the questions is like that, and it works really well. Something you got in trouble doing,
Yes.
something you got in trouble for doing as a kid.
Love it.
That one always brings up just wonderful stories on both sides. And they're
Oh,
funny and they're comical. And you know, something they got in trouble
emotional.
for.
Oh, so emotion filled, right?
Yeah.
You're like, I got my butt paddled, or I got grounded and I snuck out the window, and then this and that. You're like, oh, this is so fun. Those are chemistry. Almost everyone's going to get a second date if they're having that kind of. Or at the very worst, Julie, there go. Wow, that was so fun. Maybe I learned some fact about you. Like maybe it's the kid thing, right? Maybe you're like, oh, he doesn't want kids. But now I know, and now hopefully you could, I picked up a couple new green lights, green flags that I didn't know, before. And I'm taking that with me. And you know what? I got another friend who also, I'm not your guy, but I know a guy who's ready to have kids yesterday too. It would be okay to share your number, and that stuff happens.
It does happen if we can be detached from the end result of the first
Yes,
date. So when you were speaking earlier about second dates that don't happen because there wasn't chemistry, is that what were you thinking more about the men saying, "Hey, I didn't get the second date. She said no chemistry." Is that what
correct.
you're thinking about?
Yeah, yeah.
So
It's generally the guy's side.
if guys can follow your advice here, to look for the emotion that's underneath something, but also ask questions that have a purpose. Not
Hmm,
just,
hmm.
what you do at work today, or, tell me about your family or whatever. If you want to find out um, if this guy has a sense of humor,
Yeah,
ask him about something he got in trouble for in
yeah,
school, and
yeah,
you'll see if he can crack up about it and tell you something.
yeah.
You got to have reasons for it, not just to pass the time. Women complain, the number one complaint that women give me about men on a first date. I'm sure you can guess it.
Men that they don't ask good questions, or they're too closed off. It's like pulling teeth to get them to open up.
Sometimes, but more often, it's that the guy just ran on with his stories. He was just going on his regular date stories. And a half an hour later, she might as well not even be there because,
Yeah.
he's told his jokes, he's told his stories, but he has no ability to connect with her. He's just peacocking, being bravado, which a
Yep.
man does because he wants to impress her,
Yeah.
which means he's insecure, or he wouldn't have to say all that. Or the other reason why you guys do it is because you're not attracted to her at all, and you just have to get through the date. Yeah,
What about
yeah.
this? What about the guys that also sometimes the guys I coach, they're so I just coach they're so into the girl, and they're like, "Oh my God." But they're so guarded, and they're so afraid of being seen that that she's going to see that he's not perfect, and he thinks she's perfect. So they're staying at this bullshit platitude levels of, that they're this plastic people. So what he's trying to do is he's reading and rattling off his resume, his CV of his watches, his trips, and all these things. But she, in the end, yeah, she knows these, I guess, facts, but she doesn't know. She has no idea what it feels like to be with him. And of course, that's gross, and that's scary. So sometimes I've heard of guys that do that too, and they thought they were a great conversationalist because they talk nonstop the entire time. But they did it because they were so afraid that if they stopped and they let a little bit of silence in there and allowed her to ask a personal question, that she'd realize he
Can we do
is
something really
insecure.
weird, Chris? Can we do something right now that I've never done before, but you're perfect to do it with? Let's just pretend you and I got thrown on a date right now, and we're sitting across each other having a cup of coffee. All right?
Okay,
Just
I'm picking
pretend
my
that.
giant coffee mug.
Yeah, and I've got a glass of water here.
Okay.
Okay, so thanks for coming to meet me here, Chris. I'm having a busy day. You probably are too. So let's just cut straight to the chase. Can we have a
Well,
fun date? Can we have a fun date today?
yeah,
Like an
I love it.
unconventional date like we don't normally have over coffee. Can we just like dive in and have fun together?
Sure, you seem wild. This is going to be different.
Well, I'm just bringing you who I am today, which is like, whoa, lots is going on. And it's so I'm dying to know about you.
Oh
So,
my God.
Why are you dating? What are you looking for?
Yeah. Wow.
I
I
know, I just threw it right at
You
you. Why are you
did. Holy
dating?
moly. That's a lot. Wow. Okay. My brain, I got me switch gears for a second. I thought I was going to be performative and putting a song and dance on and telling you what
Oh,
it
you
is.
could do that, but we wouldn't get anywhere. I
No,
want to
I
find
know.
out.
No, I
It's
know.
usually you're reeling from a recent breakup and you just need to fill some time and you're like crazy. You're
Yeah.
ready for
Yeah.
your next first date, somewhere in between. You haven't been laid in a while and it's time for that. What's
Yeah.
your reason? Why'd you put yourself
I'm
up on Match.com?
I'm tired. I've been kind of fishing in for small fish, and it's not rewarding anymore. And I really want to come home and have I do believe that there's a true meaningful relationship. I'm looking for the total package now, and I realize that's on me. So I'm really appreciate you asking me these questions, and I'll just
Why the heck are we dating if we can't talk about this stuff? Well, it
right.
sounds to me like you need more than just check boxes. And when you say the
Yeah,
whole package, that's like, well, okay, she's going to be attractive and fit and have some shared
sure.
values and passions. But it sounds to me like what you're missing in the dates you're having is the ability to actually connect with somebody.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes, absolutely. I can't tell. I'm so sick and tired of freaking being on. Person doesn't look the same. There's filters. There's that. And I mean, everyone just bullshits and no one shows who they really are. And I don't
Right?
want, and I'm expecting $500 into it. And then she ghosts me, disappears. And I have no idea what the heck happened when I do like them. And then the only ones that like me are the ones that I don't like them back. It's been really frustrating. So I'm excited to
Oh,
be
thanks for sharing that because it feels similar on the other side. And
really.
so, the dating thing is not nearly as exciting as being in a beautiful relationship. That's clearly why I'm here. I haven't done so much dating that I'm jaded or bitter or whatever, but I kind of just don't want to go down into those trenches. I just want to meet people and find out what we're all about. And if we like each other and the energy's good and we like the same stuff, we'll have another date and we'll have another date. And sooner or later, somebody's going to kiss somebody. But you
So,
know, like I can tell like now just spending 10 minutes with you, you're a really fun guy, you're fun to talk to. If I have a party, I would want you to come to my party. Am I
yeah.
your cup of tea? I have no idea, but we're making friends along the way. Isn't that a good thing?
Oh my God, yes, absolutely. I'm so intrigued and I have so many questions to figure out how am I how have you escaped in this crazy city? How's nobody locked you down? And am I worthy enough? Am I that guy? I can't wait to figure out, what you're looking
Oh, you
for.
are the cutest thing. 98% of Julie Ferman is delightful, and
Ah.
2% of Julie Ferman should just be locked in a closet somewhere. So you spend enough time for me, and I start to look like the person you don't recognize. Just put me in a closet, all right? And that's all
All
you
right.
need to know. That's as worst as it gets. It's just
Okay.
every now and then I'm strung out, but most of the time I'm delightful and fun and playful and I have a feeling the right guy's out there for me. I don't know what he's going to look like. It's going to be different than past, but for
Yeah.
sure, there's going to be humor. For sure, there's going to be the ability to drop into a meaningful conversation. The
Yeah.
guy's going to have to be able to say, I'm sorry and I love you. Those things. Some guys can't say,
Mm.
I'm sorry. Can you say, I'm sorry, Chris?
I can. So when you're, thanks for being so raw and real with me, about I don't, I guess I do, I have a couple extra, walk-in closets with some reversible locks on them. We can put those in there. What do you think is since we're just being raw here, what do you think is the most misunderstood thing about you that a lot of guys don't get when they first go on a first couple dates with you?
Great question. I would say the common denominator among men who've had a first date with me would say, "Oh man, Julie's great. She's got a lot of energy. I don't know if you really want to deal with all that every day."
Mm,
It's almost
mm,
like, they want to dim the switch. And
mm-hmm.
um, I'm 65 years old at this point, Chris, and I do have a dimmer switch, but if somebody can't handle my effervescent energy, I'm
Yeah.
not the right girl for him because that's who I'm going to show up. I have golden retriever energy. If you
Yeah.
were a dog, what kind of dog would you be?
That's a great question. I was just chatting about this. I think I would be a Staffordshire Bull Terrier. There's the ones they look like pit bulls, but they're not. They're actually big and sweet and they have giant. You've probably seen them around.
Big
They're pretty
smile.
solid. Yeah, they're giant smiles and they're pretty clean and they're stout and they're sturdy and they're just big sweethearts. They look a little bit intimidating, but when you get them, they're the most loving, loyal dogs that are generally in good mood. So. You know
I have
what?
a hard time trusting people who don't like dogs. I think there must be something wrong with them.
Gosh, yeah, who wouldn't like a dog? You know what? I was so shocked. I never thought I would be that. I actually like cats. And I never thought I would like cats. But cats, they cause me, because I'm big on personal growth. I know it's our first date and I'm probably doing a little bit too much, but there's something I admire about how incredibly self-contained cats are. You mentioned the golden retriever, but there's something admirable about when you pet a cat, it wants the pets, and as soon as it's done petting it, yeah, he's like, "Stop petting me. That was one pet too many," and it walks away. I'm good, and I'll let you know when you're ready to feed me again. Like, man, there's something beautifully, solipsistic, and they're just so inward drawn with who they are, and they know, and they're not afraid, and they're so confident to voice it, and the world just loves to take care of them. God,
You know
I
what
just,
that tells me about you? That tells me that you are a confident man. You don't need the love of a cat. You don't need a cat to tell you that
yeah.
you're worth being with. You already know. You're like, okay, you don't want to be with me? Go be over there. You'll come back later.
It inspires me, Julie. And now that we're sharing I'll admit it, some of the past, I've dated some gals that didn't have that. They needed a lot they required a lot. They didn't take care of themselves as much as it was. And and now when I think now I really do admire and I like the way it causes me to learn to be a self-reliant man who takes care of himself, to have that cat-like energy and to be like, you know what, I can be my own man. Yes, I still have the big old Staffordshire smile on me, but I don't ever want a woman to feel like I need her. I want you to feel like I want you every day. And I don't need you, but I want you. And I want
Yeah.
you to wake up and have that energy. I don't want you
Yes.
to ever feel like you need to be my mental health nurse
Hmm.
or help fix my problems. I really
Yeah.
want you to feel secure that, hey, you know what? I do have my challenges and my problems, and I'm sure I have my own little closet. I lock myself in there. But I want you to know, I know when to grab myself by the shirt, exit myself out, and put myself on timeout, and come back when I'm, safe for a public consumption.
It is rare, I will say, Chris, to have a chance to talk with a man who's so open about things like emotions and relationships. I know that you do this kind of work for a living, but it's really quite refreshing. So I thought I'd mention it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Mhm.
It's not for everybody, and I'm just a heads up. I'm a little bit of an emotional flower, so but that doesn't mean that I'm weak. It means that I will feel and I will pick up on things in the room, the energy, quickly, more quicker, much probably more so than any other guy that you have ever dated. So buckle up. You're going to be seen. There's no hiding who you really are when you're around me, as I'm going to let you know if I think you're, hiding away. Because in the end of the day, you can't hide what's leaking, and your stink is your stink, and your smell is your smell. And if we're sharing, cohabitating, I just want to be honest about who
You
I
know,
am and
that's
what I'm noticing.
it's scary and it's also really comforting and like a relief. The reason I said scary is because women will often, say to me, I want a guy who's got the same level of emotional intelligence that I do. I want a guy with a lot
Yeah,
of EQ, and otherwise I'd rather just be alone. Well, guess what? Look around the room when we're in a personal growth and development program, it's usually more women than men. And
yes,
the
always.
men who are there, like the Tony Robbins types of the
Yeah,
world,
yeah, yeah,
I interviewed a guy like this last week. He's that kind of guy,
yeah.
which, I don't know if I want to partner with a guy who's that like high up on the scale that I'm not ever going to make the cut. Like he's going to be criticizing me all the time that for not
Oh,
measuring up, right? So in a way, it's kind of nice as if the woman is kind of leading that part of the relationship and he's more than willing to meet her there,
yeah.
but he's not at the level of guru and he's going to make us feel like we're less than.
Well, he needs to do some more Tony Robbins seminars if he's still ha applying that judgmentalness and not that zenness to just allow people and observe and be who they are, and at the end of the day, again, kind of back to the choice thing. Like I don't, even if we get married down the road, I don't want you to ever feel like you're, indentured servant. You have to be there. I want you to feel like you choose and you want to be there and we have those discussions. I just, a matter of fact, I was just coaching a gal yesterday and I let her know that same thing. And she's pissed off. She's like, God damn it, why do I have to always uh she has her stuff together. And this is a typical, a gal who just got her life dialed in. And she's such a strong leader. She's like, why do I always have to be an emotional leader? And truth be told, with my guys, I do teach them why they how to demonstrate emotional leadership. But also I said, hey, babe, a lot of these guys, they need to leave the door cracked open. Let them know that it's hope. Let them know that it's safe for them to walk through. Because many of us, it's such a skill that we're not well versed in, or we're not well confident in, that we're oftentimes waiting for you to take the lead. And if the gal's still buttoned up tight and waiting for him to take the lead, it's like two people at the dance in eighth grade and they're sitting across from each other and nobody gets up and makes a gesture. Yeah. And so to make
And
it easy.
what a lovely thing if a woman on a date has a chance to have a man leading in this way. One of the
Yeah.
questions that I wanted to ask you is you help men with an internal shift that
Yeah.
they do on purpose that turns everything around with women. What do you
Mhm.
mean by that? What is the shift?
The shift, the so I coach guys. I'm a guy. Who loves to know why things make sense, and it drives my woman crazy. It's like I can't watch a horror movie because like that doesn't make sense, and my brain stops and freezes up. So the men that I coach, and often some of the very logical women as well, I need it to make sense. And so as emotional intelligence coach specialist, I help people understand why. What is it like to be Julie over there? What does it feel like to be seeing me, to hearing me? So that way they have a sense. And that way, now I know, oh, to be an effective communicator, I need to understand, well, what's in it for Julie. Julie's thinking, what are those big blue eyes pulling in there? What's her life like? What is he trying to ascertain? And the difference between the prep and the nerves, and then the shaving the legs and all this stuff's very different for guys and women. Knowing, like, from a women perspective, knowing you're going to get in the car with a shaven ape gorilla that's 1.7 times the muscle mass of you that can do. There's a lot of different perspectives going on there, and to allow people to zoom out, I almost say, like, take like a drone and be able to zip and zoom out and then overview and see what is really going on. It allows us to present and to showcase ourselves better. I don't mean be performative or dance, but just to know, oh, this is the marker. This is how to express something, and also this is what they're looking for. The security, the safety needs to be done first. I think one thing that guys don't do, and we skip out on so much now, especially if they hired a matchmaker, is they skip the step of that or old organic amazing sensation that woman gets when a guy walks up to him and they're holding their coffee and they go, I saw you across the room, and I just had to say hi. Look, it's making you smile because you're like, he's choosing me. He's desiring me. And so many men, we skip that step because we're afraid of rejection. So we outsource it to somebody else. Here's a bunch of money. Skip. I don't like the rejection part. Well, I'll pretend like it's the time thing and stuff. But also, I really, really hate the rejection part. Now you do that for me. And they show up on the dates. And then next thing you know, the dudes start showcasing their resume without ever letting the woman know that he's so incredibly glad that she's there and she's desired. Her femininity, her essence, her, God X qualities are not only appreciated, but craved and desired. And then have that be the foundation. And then we can get into our trips and our travels and our family and all that other stuff. But let's make that absolutely clear.
From the very beginning, acknowledge each other for
Yeah.
taking the time and the
Yeah.
energy. And you can joke about it like, you know how rare it is for a first date to actually happen that started out online between all the
Yeah.
text messages and the ghosting and whatnot. And here we are on a real live date. Congratulations.
You did that with me. You've done it a couple times. You not only acknowledge, which says something because people don't even acknowledge nowadays, but you actually show that you have gratitude and appreciation for my masculinity and my essence and my care, and you make me feel safe. Because showing me you appreciate it. You said, hey, hey, handsome, something like that. I'm like, huh,
Wait
okay,
a
I
minute.
can
I
be,
get to
I
have
can be in my
45
masculine
minutes with
energy.
this guy. I get to spend 45 minutes with this guy. Hot diggity
Man,
dog. And here we are at Starbucks. What's the matter with saying that?
yeah, that's gonna motivate me to do so many Friday night workouts now that I don't want to because I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna be living off that high, and we don't get it anymore. And that's what's so powerful. I know everyone thinks they need to nail this. They get a 10 out of 10 like it's figure skating. Brother, sisters, you got to do a 1 out of 10 just by showing up and falling on your ass on the ice. That's more than 99.9% of the people do. And just by you saying that, that's the first compliment I've gotten, in a long time. I know. People, we just zip our lips. And the same thing with guys. When you see her, you absolutely thought you thought she smells great, but she didn't say anything. Why? Why not? Let her know. Hey, and you don't have to sit there and harp on it. You weren't creepy about it. You weren't like, oh my God, ooh la la. You're like, hey, handsome, you look good today. Something like, thank you. Thank you. And I secretly meant a lot more, than you probably knew.
There was a date that happened over the past weekend, and the first thing that he said, she really appreciated. It was along these lines. He said, "Look at you and the way you show up on a first date. Holy
Mm,
cow. Maybe I need to have a tour of your closet. You are beautifully dressed.
look
Thank
at
you for
you.
doing that."
Look at you. Everyone wants to be looked at. Everyone wants to be seen and appreciated
Look at
for the things that we
you.
care about. And
You actually trimmed your beard, Chris.
I did. I did it this morning because I knew I was going to be on air because you gave me a compliment a couple weeks ago. Yeah, it's like what setting it up.
It's like it's all the bottom line philosophy in my boot camp. Everything that I do is just bring it. Bring your love first. Don't go looking
Yeah,
for it. It's not
yeah,
out there.
yeah,
It's how can we experience a moment of love between
yeah,
two people, even if we
yeah,
just have coffee together and we determine that we're not going to ever get married or anything
yeah,
because I want babies and you really don't,
yeah,
or you're allergic to dogs and I
yeah.
have
I'm
five of
exactly.
them, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a good
I
one, by
don't
the way.
actually
Yeah.
have five dogs. But
Okay. That does
did
happen.
you meet our son Kevin 2 years ago at the
Mm-mm.
conference?
I didn't know.
So my son Kevin used to do all my video editing until he got too busy. And he got busy with his dog, Bowie, the Uber dog, who now has 1 million followers on Instagram. And that dog not only is paying his bills, but that dog magnetized Kevin's girlfriend to him.
That's amazing.
They
Wow.
both
Well,
love dogs. So when they sleep together, there's two extra dogs in the bed and nobody cares.
that's true. Oh my God. I'm gonna have Bovie take over my social media because I need some.
Yeah, Kevin's dog is really good on the computer, let me tell you.
Unreal, unreal. Yeah,
It's really
but
okay.
it is so beautiful though to everybody, anybody. I know it's just us, just the girls here having a chat here right now, but anybody, everybody who happens to listen, don't ever pass up a moment to make somebody feel seen. And especially when it's not negative.
Oh,
If
yeah,
anything at
exactly.
all,
Not,
just share it. Just share it.
yeah.
Just say what you got to say and just walk away and just notice how you feel, just regardless.
Yeah.
And just
If
knowing
Chris
that.
had shown up on the date with a scruffy looking beard, and I'm thinking, damn, he could have just gotten a little razor out and tweaked it. I'm not going to say anything about it. Instead, I'm
Yeah.
going to say, nice shirt, Chris. And look at you
Yeah.
with your little bit gray coming in here. Handsome
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
There's something else that I want to ask you that I'm dying to know. The How can a man tell if he's being too much or not enough in early dating? And what's the fix?
Too
Is he coming in too
much.
strong? Is he holding back too much?
Yeah, too much. I think he's gonna know. Think of it like a tennis game. If he is taking these very safe, boring, shots that are just big, looping, just barely is in, and he notices that he's not having fun, and he's not getting anywhere, then he's probably playing it. Yeah, he's being overprotective and oversafe, and she's most likely waiting for him to take an emotional leadership part and be the first. Think of it like two people. It's almost like dates are crazy. It's like going to it always happens in LA. People have like pool parties, right? Everyone gets all dressed up and they get their makeup on and they stand on the outside of the pool and no one gets in. And they all look, no one wants to be the first person in because it's exposing, right? Gotta get there. Everyone's so judgy. And thank goodness, usually there's some ding dong, douchebag who climbs up on top of the roof. It's like cannonball, and starts it in. Well, that's what happens, guys, when that's the guy who takes home the girl. If you
That
don't
guy
step
takes
up,
home the girl.
if you don't get in that pool, she's going to eventually, hey, at least he had the balls to go in there and show and live emotionally, and be brave enough to do what he wants to do. So again, tying it back into the sharing the feelings, to be the emotions, and do if it's childhood stories, whatever it is. But if you don't make her feel something, some ding dong's going to do it. He's probably not as good guy as you. He's probably not Mr. Long Time. He's just made up probably. Oh, all right, end of the party. Well, at least I'll have fun. If that's not motivation enough, then yeah, then just because the water, it just feels good. And that's the thing I help guys do is I help start doing little fun experiments where they mention something to somebody. Maybe it's the postman and they notice, he didn't slap me. He didn't mace me. He didn't do this. He actually smiled back and said, oh yeah, I'm having a shitty day too, or something else happened. And I'm really bummed about the Super Bowl or whatever. And you had a real conversation and then get in your body. How does that feel? And that's how we start retraining our nervous system post-COVID. on actually downloading and being like, you know what, this human connection thing, there seems to be something there to it. Maybe we should not completely give up on it just yet.
Now, tell us about the format for how you work with clients. Probably one-on-one, maybe a group thing, maybe there. Tell
Yeah.
us how people can hire you and work with you.
Amazing. Yeah. There's one-on-one coaching. It's usually depend on kind of where you're at. It could be 6 sessions, 10 sessions, 20 sessions, one-on-one coaching. Oftentimes I'm big on not talking about it, but being about it and actually giving actionable homework that is not infield. It has nothing to do with I have to wait till I find that one great white buffalo perfect woman. So, it'll be a year and a half before I take my first swing. Nope. I do it as soon as we walk out the door, you get your cup of coffee, you pump your gas, we're on. And I always say, you never have to turn it on if you never turn it off. So if you just leave it simmering on there and just start noticing and just in the end of the day, yeah, start becoming a normal human being how we used to be, who actually says things, feels things, expresses things. So that's my one-on-one. And then also, I just launched a men's group coaching. It's emotional intelligence master class, which is really awesome. So we get a bunch of guys together and we go over our wins and our losses over the weekend, the things that our brains like, this hurts, this doesn't make any sense. I hate this, or I'm mad about something. And we kind of look it out. Yeah, that's big for
And
guys.
they're all single guys.
Yep. All
Oh, I
single
love
guys
this.
who are
And
ready to
you
do the
do it
work.
on Zoom so they can be all over the place.
Yep.
Yeah. I
Yep.
want you to share that information with me so that I can put it in the show notes and also share it with all the men that I do
Thank
my
you.
half-hour calls with and my Zoom consultations. It's really amazing. The boot camp that I do, the office hours are men and women together, all ages, twice a week.
Yeah, that's cool too.
It's been really wonderful for the men to hear what the women have to say and vice versa. But in
Uh-huh.
men's group, I encourage men. It's one of the things I'll always encourage them to do is find a men's group, just guys where you can talk about this stuff. Women, we'll find each other and we'll have our bosom buddies, but you guys, you tend to not unless it's like somebody you play basketball with or tennis or whatever.
No,
So good for you.
100%. No, even then, and I do play basketball and tennis, and I don't share and offload as much of the things that go on. And yeah, it's something cathartic about being around other men who are. And what's so nice about it is these guys they're experiencing. They just get it. It feels good to realize, oh, I'm not the only one on this. What feels like an island sometimes. There's other people doing it, and then we kind of come together and figure out what's working, what's not working. So that's one session. The other session, well, then that's the emotional intelligence. That's the theory. That's the understanding. The deeper lessons, the whys, and I make it all logical. There's a bunch of 80 modules, 80 modules on that one to explain everything I know about life and dating, women, connection. And the last one, which the guys absolutely love, is we have an in-person, a live role-playing class with an attractive single female who then, because it's one thing to be like, these guys always do that. Oh yeah, I do that. I do that. I do that all the time. I do that. And I go, oh, okay. Cool. Try it on Friday. And then like, oh, well,
Blah, 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 blah.
and blah, 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 blah. I didn't know this was going to happen. Like, perfect. Well, the good news is that this is, this is practice and now we get to do it again and we get to get real time feedback on how it made her feel and what was going on with your eye contact, what we're doing with your hands and what words worked, what didn't work. And she lets you know real time. And so everybody, we get to kind of go around and take turns and include real life scenarios. Maybe it's your work, maybe it's the Starbucks by you, maybe there's the dog park. You really want to, make a connection. So we get to run through all those as a team. And the guys love it. So we call it getting your fastball ready, for the weekend, warming up your arms. You can throw those 90-mile-an-hour heaters, and you're not, no longer nervous, and you've got some repetitions and some confidence in to go into the weekend.
Well, ladies, I know you're listening. There are more women that listen to this than men. And isn't it good to know how hard guys are trying to get our
Mm,
attention? I mean, really. And if we always want the three things that women typically want when we boil it all down with men is they want somebody they can trust,
mhm,
they want somebody they feel safe with, that kind of thing. And they want somebody who's kind by nature. And they want
mm,
somebody who shares some really important values and maybe some passions, activities.
mhm.
And if we can't inspire you guys to open up your hearts, right, so that we can see who you really are, if we're not comfortable enough showing ourselves,
Yeah.
then you can't be who you need to be for us.
Yeah.
right? If we're so buttoned up that we can't bring vulnerability to the date, there's no room for you to save us, right?
Yeah.
We want to be
Yeah.
seen, but we got to have an opening, and I say bring it. Don't
Yeah.
wait for it to show up, bring it. It's
Yeah.
just amazing. Now, one more question. You have a relationship right now. How did you meet? I have to know.
Or I wouldn't want to know. By the way, when you were saying that,
I know it wasn't the strip club,
no, it
Chris.
was not the strip club. By the way, you were saying that I just imagine like a people, standing outside the hot tub, and I would say, ladies, bring your bathing suit, please, or at least take your shoes off, dip your toes in, and let us know. We will follow suit, if you let us know the good. And unfortunately or fortunately, it's usually the really nice guys, the guys that need a little bit more motivation. And you don't have to drag them into the water, but if you can let them know, hey, I'm putting my feet in there, kicking my heels off and dipping it in, a man worth his salt, he's gonna mirror you back and he's gonna dip his feet in there, and then you guys can start loosening up. But oftentimes it takes one person to be brave enough to say, hey, that water
It's
looks great.
usually us. We hold your eye contact, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
we make a cute comment about your adorable shirt or your
yeah,
necklace, whatever it is.
yeah.
And because the guys who are really comfortable with all that, those are the players, and we don't want them anyway. So the good guys have to man up. They have to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We're
Mm-hmm.
looking for them.
What was the
So
date? Where did I meet her? Old fashioned way at a drinking at a bar. And I had already I well, it's kind of like when I was chatting with you earlier. All that was true. On our little mock date we just had. I knew that I was ready to go deeper, and I knew I was. If you think of snorkeling, I knew I was sitting on the surface level, and I knew that there were a lot of things that I was guarding, and so I took time off from dating and I got really clear on myself and worked on my self-worth, my self-esteem, all sorts of, patterns that I had. And I just came in there with kind of house money, like meaning like I wasn't afraid of rejection because I knew I had enough self-love built into my reserves. And I was just able to go out there and just kind of play, like just play and just have fun and show up. And it so happened to be, I had a, a witty comment, smart ass comment that she made about my mustache, and I hit it back, and he said something.
she made the smart ass comment like a smart girl.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Yes, he
And
did.
you don't have a mustache right now. So what did she say about that said mustache?
Oh, this is gonna make the highlight reel. She said, I said, oh yeah, and again, this is not my best. I usually coach guys do something better than this. But I was feeling loose. I wasn't looking for anything. I was like, oh, you're really tall. Do you play? You look like you play volleyball. And she looked at me and she goes, what are you, my dad? Because her dad was also about the same size as me and he had a big old mustache. And he always, apparently, I found this out later. He always told her she needs to play volleyball instead of soccer. She played a lot of
What are
soccer.
you, my dad?
And so what did I say? I said, I'm not, I said, no, I'm not your dad, but you can call me daddy later. And it was off. So I
Oh,
was feeling,
yes, we just have to
I
play. We
was
just have
playing. I was
to
playing.
play.
I didn't know where I was going, what was expected, but I was like, oh, she's being smart. It's cool. I can match that energy. And that's realness. That is actually how I talk. That is how, when I'm loose and I'm feeling comfortable. Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful. But at some point, someone said, hey, how about we get together again? Or here's my phone number. How did that part happen?
Yeah, man. That was immediately from me. I knew old player Chris could creep back in and to just try to see how far I could go. And it sounds wild, but I think it was the first time I've ever done this. And after making out with her, I pulled away and I said, "Hey, I'm gonna press pause on this right now. I want to take you on a proper date and get your number and sending you home off your way because I actually really want to get to know you and I want to do take this other than physical. I want to take this to a more emotional and intellectual place and figure out there is connection there because I something told me there was. Something just told my
Wow.
spidey
Well,
senses were
I'm
going
trying to
off.
imagine you're standing there, you get to know this girl, and you're making out at the bar, and you don't even know, like, you don't even have her phone number yet. I mean, but that's what happens at bars, right? Were you on your second
Yeah.
drink or your third, Chris?
Man, 30th drink. Yeah.
I was telling
Uh,
you can leave before the second date or second drink because,
it
you
was
know,
holiday parties up by on Ironically. We were both coming back from Christmas holiday parties. So yeah, everybody we're
amazing.
just it was her last drink. She was headed home. She'd already partied. She said her friend made her stop by for bar for one drink. They did one drink. I came in there. I was same thing. I was with guys who were single and they were like, I didn't want to go. I was like, okay, one time. So again, I did no expectations, just curiosity. And that's one of the
Yeah.
things it's so incredibly powerful. A good, great way to live life, not just in dating, but everything, right? I wasn't attached to any outcome. I was just curious. I'm just there to play, just there to see what happens. And yeah,
And
my eyes were open.
to couple that playful, adventurous spirit with the know-how and the confidence
Yeah,
and the courage
yeah,
to not walk out of that bar until you said, you know, there's something special about you. And it's not just because I had some drinks tonight. I want to have a
yeah,
proper date with you.
yeah,
And I need your phone number and your social security number and your
yeah.
address.
No, no, no.
It's
Got it all.
really
But no,
beautiful. You
yeah.
walked your
Thank you.
talk. Yeah,
What's that?
beautiful.
Walk my walk.
You walked your talk.
Yeah, yeah,
Talked your walk and walked your talk.
yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, his name is Chris Gillis, Gillis, and your Instagram is Consultant Chris, and your YouTube is Consultant Chris, and you're on Facebook, you're on TikTok as Consultant Chris, and on LinkedIn as Consultant Chris. Gee, I bet if I just Google
I
Consultant Chris, I
wonder.
can
Keep on.
find you. Beautiful. Thank you for your time today, Chris. I love you to pieces. So glad you're
Same
here.
here. Same here. Thank you for
Ladies
having
and
me.
gentlemen, yeah, you're welcome. I'm really glad you're here. So think about all this stuff, ladies and gentlemen. If you are a guy and you need a little bit of men's group in your life or
Mm.
somebody to actually one-on-one take you through coaching, Chris Gillis is here for you. And if you're a lady, just sit back and know that guys are working really hard to get our attention and be
Mm.
nice to them. So thanks for listening, guys. Go out there and transform me to we for yourself.